Namaste. Good morning, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Roundtable Readings. And this morning we are here with Gerald and Anna Anna. And I am so privileged to have them here. My name is Sadhana. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an intuitive reader and healer, lover of all things metaphysical. And this is just such a pleasure to be here with, I want to say, friends. I met Gerald and Anna about a year ago, and our connections have just grown, and we've gotten to know each other in different magical ways. And so it's just my privilege to have both of you here on the channel this morning. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and I should say that hats off to Anna. It's about 5 a.m., Anna?
Yep. Just after 5.
Just after 5. Okay. Anna's in New Zealand, for those of you that don't know. And Gerald, you're on the East Coast. Exactly where?
I'm in Ohio.
Okay. So no, that's not on the coast. That's in the middle.
It's in the Midwest, but I'm in Eastern Standard Time. So.
Okay. Eastern Standard Time of the U.S. We can't assume the East Coast. Lots of countries have East Coast. And I am on the West Coast of Canada, up from Vancouver, British Columbia. So you've got a good geographical range of energy happening all around you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about what we're working with on our tables, what decks we're going to be working with today, and we're going to pull cards for you, answer questions, bring in connections. So I encourage you all to start thinking about burning questions, things that you're challenged with, maybe some energies that you're trying to work through. And you can go ahead and start to put your questions into the chat. And we'll start those questions in about 5-10 minutes or so. But I want to say hi to everybody who's here. Some of you were here before we even went live. So I think Mila was first off the bat. So welcome. Namaste, Mila. Let us know where you are. I'm not sure that I know where you are. So yeah, that would be great. And Shannon, welcome. Shannon is one of the students in the Tarot Foundations class, and she's gone crazy with live readings. She's on Facebook all the time. And I want to say, yeah, I've also opened a reading room in the Tarot Foundations class, and Shannon and another student, Rachel, were busy practicing on Wednesday night. It's so beautiful to see the growth of readers over time. So good on you, Shannon. Shannon's Facebook channel, by the way, is Pay It Forward Tarot. So if you want to check out her channel. Hi, Dee. Good morning. Good morning. You only caught, yes, I saw you come in really late yesterday. So that's wonderful to have you here. Mary Beth, welcome. Welcome to you. And both Anna and Gerald know Mary Beth face to face. So that's lovely to have you here. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the banter. I think you're going to get some very interesting connections in your questions today. So that's lovely. Mary Beth is here. Okay, then Gerald. Yes, Joel. Namaste, Joel. Joel's been hanging around a lot on my channel lately. He's from Sweden, and we've had some really interesting conversations about decks and so forth. And there's quite a Swedish crowd, actually, that is in this tarot community. And I don't know, like Gerald and Anna, what is your connection like internationally? Are you, I know you don't have a channel, Anna, right?
No. I just listen in and contribute when I can, do some classes.
Have you done readings for people overseas?
Occasionally, yes, but not often and not commercially.
Okay.
So mostly live ones here at home.
Okay. And Gerald, how are you doing readings these days? What's happening with that?
I have been doing some readings individually with people and with small groups via Zoom. And I am considering adding some live readings to my channel. So, but yeah, I miss it, actually. I really, really miss the in-person readings. But I just miss that connection with people and the the feeling of being able to give some assistance and clarification. And it really opens me up and connects me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So.
Yeah, I really like the in-person readings too, and it's very powerful. I mean, Zoom is fine doing readings on Zoom, but there's something about that connection with somebody actually physically present with you.
Right.
Yeah. Have you two done phone readings without any?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. And those work because there's that immediate feedback, and that if the person asking the question gets an aha moment, it deepens my connection to that reading, and it just sort of it opens me up to, okay, they heard that, now let's give them more, let's share a little bit more. So
How about you, Anna? Have you done phone readings?
No, I think the only times I've read over the phone have been for one of my daughters, who's happy to take it anyhow, anyway. But
how many children do you have?
I have 2 daughters and a son.
Aww.
Children. We were just talking about that before we came on, how we love our families. Okay, so let's go back. I didn't finish saying hello to everybody. I said Dee and Tina. Namaste, Tina. Tina's also in Sweden. Welcome to Tina. And Donna. Hello. Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. Hope.
Ooh.
And Hope is in Japan, I'm assuming. Let us know if you are in Japan. That little bit on the front is Japanese. Mary Beth's and Holly Weird.
Yeah.
I love that. And Jonathan, welcome, Jonathan. So lovely to have you here. Aloha, Jonathan. Oh, and Joel and Tina are talking in Swedish. This is lovely.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that great? I know I've seen that on other people's channels where people in the chat are speaking in a foreign language, and I think that's just amazing.
That
Integrative healing.
That fills my heart. What did you say, Anna?
Integrative healing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bringing people together, right? And Regina, where are you? I don't think I know where you are either. Oh, Hope is in England. Okay, so not in Japan. Not in Japan. And Marie France, Mercier. Bonjour. Welcome. Okay, so yeah, so we'll continue to say hi to people as they come into the chat. And so I guess I have already asked you a question, but I'm really curious what decks you are working with these days, what's on your table. And I was thinking of another question this morning that Gerald and I were touching on this, and that is, how has your taste index changed over the years? And I know, Anna, you have both of you have enormous collections or libraries or whatever you want to call them. So what are you working with today, and how has your taste changed over the years? Anna, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think one of the earliest tarot decks I ever owned was the round Mother Peace deck. Oh. And I used that for quite a while. I've always had a Rider-Waite, so that was probably my default deck, and that's still, I think, the one I'm the most comfortable with if I feel uncertain, or I don't know what deck to choose. I'll usually go for the Rider-Waite. But the Mother Peace I used for quite a while, except I didn't like the way the circles turned and you had to be more subtle. I just found that too hard as a learner. So in the end, I stuck with the Rider-Waite and I built up a collection. But at the moment, I'm reading with the Spacious Tarot, and most of you will know what that is. And I just like it because of its... hang on, I'll just get them straight. I just like it because of its stillness, and it's not empty, but it's resonant, but it's not crowded. And I tend to feel crowded in real life if I have too many stimulations coming at me. And so I find the Spacious Tarot really helpful in that regard as well. Mm.
And Anna, how big is your library?
How long is a piece of string?
Did you ever finish your inventory?
Almost. Sadhana, now I have to tell everybody this, Sadhana nagged me until I felt obliged to keep or to make a list. And I've never have done that before. I'm not like Sadhana, who loves spreadsheets. I'm the opposite. I can't stand them. But I have, out of sheer, I don't know what, but I have made a list, and I've decided I'm going to sell about 200. So in other words, I've got probably under 300 tarot and oracle decks that I've collected over perhaps almost 30 years. But they're far too many, and I want to feel that the decks I use the most are my friends, and the only way I can do that is to use and know and put all my energy into less decks. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to be offloading as many as I can, but it's not that easy to sell in New Zealand. I'd much rather live where you folks live, so I had a bigger market to sell to.
Wow.
Yeah, and the post is just horrendous to ship to the US and Canada from Australia and New Zealand.
It's quite a lot.
It is a lot. Okay, so Gerald.
I have on my table, I have 4 decks. I have the This Might Hurt, which is a wonderful deck. This is the back. And then the images RWS related, yet updated, and they feel more inclusive to me. And when I read with this, I actually can see people that I'm reading for can see themselves in this deck, which is important to me. I also have the Spacious Tarot, Anna. I just got this one. And Zane and I were doing a deck casual about that. And what I like about this is it gives me the opportunity to get into the card and to become part of it. And then that way I feel very connected and more in control of what I can do. So about that. I also have the 5-cent tarot, which I just recently got with the 2-penny oracle. And this is lovely cardstock. And it's a deck that I have not had before, and when it first came out I wasn't that interested, but then because it has keywords and it has the reversed keywords as well, and I think the time was right for me as I was looking at it, so that was wonderful. I also have the Santa Muerte Tarot. I like the Santa Muerte Tarot.
I don't have that deck, and I've thought of purchasing it several times.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard you talking about it. I've heard you talking about the fact that you do ancestor work with it.
I do ancestor work. This is the deck that I will do ancestor work. I will communicate with people who have passed, if that's what somebody wants in a reading. And it's just, for me, the images and the energy around it, just like, boom. It really, really invigorates me with that, and really is quick. And then I always have, one of my standards, I always have it, is the Robin Wood Tarot, which I love. And this was the first deck that I actually dove deep into. So very RWS based, but it's quite lovely. So.
And your collection, your library, Gerald?
Probably close to 350. And last year I started this, which is a little card catalog. So last year in 2020, I think I bought 64 decks. So one of the things that I want to do on my channel is do a flip through of every deck that I have so that it's
Oh,
available.
my.
Because, I mean, that's a lot of decks. And I do have some duplicates because I have a duplicate of the Santa Muerte Sadhana because I like it so much.
Do you have the coffin box?
I do not have the coffin box. That would be fun, but I'm definitely a collector, and mostly tarot. I do have some oracle and some other types of decks. So look at me. This it's like ooh.
You're so old-fashioned.
Yeah, analog is a good way for me to do it. I had a panic where I was moving that and it fell over and all of the cards came out. So I get to go back through and put everything in order again, alphabetically. So
That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, it's fun. Oh, it's great. It's like, yeah, everything has its place. So
yeah, I've been trying to catalog my tarot books as well too. So I do have spreadsheets. Those of you that have watched my channel know that I love spreadsheets or taken classes with me. So yeah, and I've really slowed down in the number of decks per year that I purchase. I purchased a couple. Like I shared yesterday, I did a tarot tag, and so the botanical deck by Jessica bought. I'm really intrigued more and more about plant medicine. In the summer, I tend to work with the herb crafter, learn something new every summer, and when that deck is out. And Jessica's deck intrigued me, and I'm not going to use it today. I haven't really started working with it, but yeah, I mean, I have so many decks on my table and my side stand, and what I'll do today is I'll listen to your question and I'll choose a deck. I really like to choose decks that suit the question. You know, if you sometimes I'm not set up, like when I go into the store to read, I choose 4, 5, 6 decks, a couple of oracle decks, and off I go and I pack my basket. And usually they're the perfect decks, you know, for the people that stroll in, and I don't always know who's booked. But yeah, it's really a privilege to have just a whole bunch over here. And this is just a tiny selection of my library as well too. You know, my library is pretty big. My tarot takes up a whole hall closet. Not my tarot. My oracle is in the hall closet. It takes up multiple shelves in the hall closet, and then my tarot's in a dedicated behind the screen here. I have them all there, except my backup decks are in my bedroom in a drawer. So
just in case there's a fire.
yeah.
No, but also, you know, sometimes I purchase a deck. If there's a deck that I really love and I know that it's going to disappear, if I want to, maybe I will do a giveaway or a gift to somebody. Like some decks really have moved me over the years. Like they're very special. Like I remember when I first got Oracle of Echoes, I bought a second copy right away, and I thought, wow, I would love to gift one to everybody that I know.
Yeah.
And that second copy is still sitting in a drawer of an earlier incarnation of the deck before. Now Anna's added more cards, and I haven't even seen the new cards. Have you two seen the new cards in Oracle of Echoes?
No, only on people's walkthroughs, I think.
I have not actually investigated it closely. Having this many decks, I want to give it appropriate amount of time so that I can feel that connection, and so, but yeah, and but I had to get it.
Yeah. And Turian, you have fans in this tarot community. Something crazy. Yes. Okay, so why don't we get to the readings? And I have stopped the chat. There's a lot of people that have come in since, and so as we go through, I'll continue to say hi to. I see Papa Dots is here, and Joseph IT Guy is here. Evangeline, namaste, welcome to you as well too. But I have paused the chat with Mila, who's our first question. And Mila lives in Italy, actually dreaming of moving to Vancouver, where I am. And Mila asked, may I please ask, what do you see coming in my professional future? Okay, so professionally, when when I'm asked future questions, like how when somebody asks a future question, what happens in your head? What's your strategy, Gerald and Anna?
My first strategy is there clarity about what is desired, what the desired outcome is, and is there a plan to get there? Because the future isn't written and it'll change just simply by getting a tarot reading. It changes. So predictive, I do a specific spread for predictive reading and with a yes or no, but it is set up to say, well, it's more yes than no because of this, and you need to consider this. And it's sort of an overall, let's get a snapshot of where we are right now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering because, there's a lot of predictive type questions that pop up on these chats. And I also I don't believe we can read the future. We can look at the energy that is around right now, and there are I read energetically for those of you that haven't seen, right? So is there a balance, an imbalance? What is anyway? Anna, how do you feel when somebody asks a predictive question?
I think there must be something in my hearing that blanks it out, because how I process any question like that is as what are the cards mirroring? What are the cards saying about this person in relation to and for instance, in Mila's her so it's a I guess a job related question. So I wouldn't necessarily put the time scheme at the front of my mind. I would just want to see what the cards were saying to me. So in other words, I do treat them as a mirror that contain the past, the present, and the future, if you like. And it's a matter of interpreting those nuances. I know that a lot of people talk about tarot as not being predictive, and I think I agree in principle, but there have been, I'm sure all readers who are watching would say that sometimes there are uncanny predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I've certainly come across some that have been quite extraordinary. So, I don't know if that helps or not, but that's how I do it.
Mm-hmm. When somebody asks a predictive question, we're going to get to your question, Mila. Sorry for the chat here. I just wanted to ask this question, but I also do pay attention to the astrological associations in the deck, because sometimes, I don't know, spirit wants to talk about time, or there's some information about time, and so there's lots of different approaches. Anyway, Gerald, why don't you begin?
Okay. What is coming? Professional future. I'm using the 5-cent tarot, and
I'm just going to mute myself while you're talking, Gerald. I can hear feedback, so.
I have the 8 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups is about thinking about where you are and being willing to let go of the emotional attachment to what you have experienced so that you can move on to a new opportunity that is emotionally rewarding and fulfilling. It also feels like thinking about this is things get turned upside down sometimes. We've got a cup that is upside down, and that is out of our control. And it's how we respond to it that can give us a new opportunity. So I would say what's important for you is this being willing to think about it. For how do you feel about your work and where you want to go professionally? Because obviously you're thinking about it, and so there's some time for introspection around it. But there could be an opportunity for you to move on to, and it helps something that will help foster your overall well-being. So
I'm intrigued with the move on. I'm gonna go last, Anna. I'm gonna let you go, but I'm looking at, I've got the Lover's card from the Wild Unknown here, and I'm looking at pictorially the moving on.
yeah.
I'm curious, Anna, what have you picked up on?
Well, I have the Explorer of Cups. So this is another, well, it's a heart-centered emotional card like Gerald's. The Explorer is the equivalent of the Knight of Cups. So you definitely have a sense of longing, and you've definitely spent quite a bit of time perhaps dreaming of finding a place where your heart feels at home, I think. So there's a strong, I mean, with the Eight of Cups and with the Explorer of Cups, I think there's a strong sense of longing and a willingness to go forward. So the Explorer of Cups deep dives, is not afraid of going to the depths. So, I mean, I could go on, but that's generally speaking what I've got here.
This is quite uncanny, actually. Eight of Cups, Explorer of Cups, and Lovers.
Yeah. So I would say there's some more deep searching required before you can arrive at this more practical Pentacles-driven decision. That's what I would say.
But what about poetry? What about counseling? Like, what about looking at this from a topic perspective? As you know, my professional future, if this is something that you're interested in, the energy of all of these cards is around emotional challenges, perhaps relationships.
And also the idea of working through grief, and to actually, I when I think of the Lovers, I don't necessarily think about it in the romantic sense, but that completion of who you are and that relationship with yourself and with others as it supports you as you move forward.
So perhaps your healing journey, Mila, is one of may very well be mirrored in a career or some further education that where you explore counseling or some form of counseling, social work, working with couples in some way, because or grief, as Gerald said, because the whole letting go process is deeply connected to the energy of these cards as well too. So I hope that's I think that's, I love that these three cards are so intimately connected. Yeah, so let us know how that sits with you, Mila. Okay, I'm going to scroll on down, and we're going to go to D. D says, I feel there are some past life issues intruding into my life now. I need help to work through them myself. What can I do? Okay, so we're looking for challenging energies, blocks, and so forth. So I want to invite everyone to hold light and love around Mila, clearing energy. And that's also something that if you don't practice, Mila, is really important. Like, even if this is just about taking bags and boxes of things to a recycling center or a donation center, sometimes when we feel that intrusion, that it's not a comfortable feeling. So letting go of physical objects, I find, is very, very medicinal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Anna, why don't you go first this time?
Okay. So D, I have the Four of Wands for you. I feel, now I might have been a little bit sparked by Sadhana's connection about taking something to the dump or the trash or the tip or whatever you call it over there. What do I feel? This is something that has become a burning. It has whatever has happened in the past has taken up quite a large space in your life, by my feeling. I think I find it difficult to add to that at the moment. Got a bit of a blank here.
Well, it's a 4, Anna. It's a 4. 4s can feel dense, restrictive. So, yeah. Gerald, what have you pulled?
I have pulled the 9 of Cups in the Santa Muerte. And I'm getting the nudge to say to Dee, I want to give you credit for actually acknowledging that this is what you're experiencing. And there's a lot of power in you typing this into chat. I think there's an incredible amount of movement just by you being aware of that and moving through that and saying it. When I look at this 9 of Cups, it's actually they are in a treasure chest, and there's a heart right there.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest is that while you're moving through all of this emotional time, that you don't forget the good things and the things that fulfill you and the things that bring you some level of joy, because these are treasures and they are protected. So it feels important to acknowledge that while you're on this journey, you still have these other things that can help you celebrate who you are and give you a reminder of the power that you bring to this. And if it now I feel like I'm rambling, but if it's been locked away and you've hidden it and you've unlocked it, it's okay to let it sit open for a little bit before you actually go through it, because it airs it out.
Can I just add one thing to Gerald's card that I'm looking at, where you talk about the heart, Gerald? To me, when I first saw that card, it looked like the furnace that was at the heart of the ship. So the engine room, where the flame has to be continually stoked. So I know I'm just looking at it from quite a distance, and it's not exactly literal, but I felt that tied in with my 4 of Wands. That fiery 4 of Wands meets up with that subject or thing that's driving the ship forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just an impression, Sadhana. So
No, it's excellent. I want to show you. Let's see if I can do this. We go like this. So look at the 10 of Pentacles in the Wild Unknown.
Mm.
We've got red in the center as well too. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's amazing.
And we have, when I see that 4 of Wands card, we tend to default to celebration, that kind of thing. But there's a for those of you that know the Way Home Tarot, the image of the Way Home Tarot with the bonfire is coming to mind. And I'm wondering if there's something about this. And I really like what you said, Anna, about stoking the fire. Okay, so let's go back to the question, because I want to answer the question. I need help to work through them myself. What can I do? These past life issues that are coming through. So this feels like a need to transform the energy. So physically burning through the energy, which is a process of, again, it's a process of letting go, but it's acknowledging it, like Gerald said. So you want to acknowledge any pain, emotion, say these experiences aloud. And then you need to be willing to let them go. Is there a reason that you're unwilling to let them go, that you're holding on to them? Because that fours can feel very clingy. And in that treasure chest in Gerald's card, there was a lot of stuff. And in this card, there's a lot of stuff. And it's busy and it's chaotic. Right? So if you want to let it go, I think there was something to what I said at the very beginning. It's about decluttering your life. Right? And what is happening in the house is always a mirror of what's going on energetically.
Right. And I also feel that there has been some comfort in sitting by that fire that's been built from the past. And so it's not always easy to step out, because sometimes you take a step into the cold in order to heal. And you don't stay in a cold, frozen waste, but it looks as if whatever those past issues are, sometimes they're comforting to think about and to warm yourself with.
I want to jump in and just sort of link these together, because Anna had the Four of Wands, and you could actually put a wand in each corner of this chest. So it's like the Four of Wands could be the edges of this treasure chest, and then with the heart, it's like the heart in it's like the red in Sadhanas, where it goes to, we have is that the Nine of Pentacles?
10.
Okay.
But Gerald, look at the arc of the blue. Move your card down just a little bit. Look at the arc of the blue.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's irradiating out. All of these things are in place for you to be able to do this work. That being said, there's a lot of courage and strength in asking for someone to help you. So don't forget that.
Okay. So Dee, this is lots of great food for thought. Take what resonates. Spend some quiet time considering some of these messages, because this is big stuff to be working through. So thank you for opening up and sharing with us. All right. My name, Hope, was given to me by my guru in India. It is an Indian name. It's a Sanskrit name. It was given to me when I received my mantra initiation. So yes, it's not the name that I was given at birth. Now the chat has jumped and there we go. Okay. Yes, Dee, we were talking about this. We were talking about overseas postage. It's just ridiculous and challenging. Okay. Jonathan's question you have. Anna, you've seen that?
Yes, I have seen it. I'm just too disorganized to go there. And also, you're right, I'll get American interest there if I went there. So that's a great suggestion, Jonathan. Hello, Patrice.
Hi, Patrice.
Okay, we're way behind in the chat. So let us just see. I'm going to try to find the next question. Yes, Mila, we are from all over the world. Okay, Joel. This is not a question. This is a deck thing. You're talking about decks availability in Sweden. And I feel very blessed in Canada, not as easily accessible as the US, but it's so, decks are readily accessible and for the most part, not getting dinged for overseas postage unless I'm purchasing from the UK or Australia. Okay, so we're going to go to Papu Das. Welcome, Papidas. Will my current situation become stable and fine? All right. So let us address this question. Gerald, do you want to go first this time?
Sure. Will my current situation become stable and fine? I got the Knight of Wands, and actually, it's a yes, and rather quickly, but be careful about going too quickly and burning things up that you don't want to burn, and losing track of the things that you didn't want to lose. There's a determination about this night, especially because when you're looking at the night, you can definitely see, while holding a wand, still actually having to focus carefully on the driving, and so trying to manage so many things can be challenging, and the leaves flying off. It's like when the wind blows, and refreshes everything, but it can leave things a bit messy that need to be taken care of. And with the night, I always caution to give it some thought before you act too irrationally. So that's me.
I would say that's a really interesting card in the nature of this question, because the Knight of Wands is not stable. So what are you picking up on, Anna?
So I pulled the Ten of Swords, Papadas, and this card is interesting also in that it's not stable. Like the tens are about the end of a cycle, and so you've come to an end of this particular situation, but what it's left behind is an unstable ground. In this particular image, the swords have pierced the trunk of a tree and they've left it very fractured. And so that, I think that really ties up with what Gerald was talking about before. I can see this Knight of Wands steering a very wobbly course out of there as fast as he can go, but this ground will follow you if you don't address it. So that's my feeling, is look to the ground that's been disrupted by the Ten of Swords, and don't feel just by speed you can escape whatever questions have come up in this moment.
And I want to add, this is a great benefit for taking classes with Sadhana. I'm going to heap praise at you, Sadhana. So this slow down, and what happened with me is I saw the image, but then I didn't connect the image with the question. And you're right, the Knight of Wands is really dynamic. There's nothing stable about the Knight. So, and as Anna pulled the Ten of Swords, that's the finality of it. So it is really like you sort of want to, like, okay, let's burn the place down and get out. Don't do that. But it's that finality, the 10. You're waiting for that next opportunity. This feels like it's rushing to something. So
there's a lot of ego in that card, in the Knight of Wands.
Yeah.
And so this is, it's a bit of a cautionary. Can you hold up I don't have that deck. Can you hold up the 10? I'm going to make you large, Anna. Can you? What is on the ground? Is it sand?
At the back of the card, I can't tell whether it's water or some sort of ground, but the foreground is entirely occupied by the trunk of the tree, and that cross cut across the tree is very unstable. It's been fractured and it's all raised up at different levels. Can you see that?
Yes, I see. I see. I see. Okay. All right. So I pulled the star, and what I'm feeling with this card is that, and this is what the first word that came out of my mind when Gerald put up that, and kind of even before and simultaneously, was Papu Das is not grounded. Papu Das is, or I was going to say, you need to get grounded. This is kind of this message that was coming through. So, you know, the Ten of Swords is the integration of shifts and changes is really, really important. It's important that we pause and we observe what's going on around us. And the star is seen as a very hopeful card. It's kind of the, you know, it's after the chaos of the Tower card. But what I feel here is that you, and it's very similar to what I'm feeling with that Knight of Wands. It's like you don't want to be here. You don't want to be present.
Yeah.
And there's an importance, and there's a significance to being present and fully experiencing that Ten of Wands energy, like allowing allowing yourself to crack, allowing yourself to break down, and to not be racing ahead like the Knight of Wands. I pulled another card, and it's the Ace of Wands.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know, Anna, what?
I was going to say, I think it's you're not the only one who runs away from hard things. Everybody does. It's a natural impulse to get on our motorbikes and head towards something that might sometimes, you know, be inflammable. And so it's a natural thing to not want to look at the ground. So, yeah, I was just agreeing with Sadhana, really.
So in answer to your question, will my current situation become stable and fine? Not until you focus on it. Can you expand on that?
I'm chuckling because it's in words hard. Sometimes the fire energy is needed in like some conifers need fire in order to release their seeds. And so you have to understand what is actually on the ground or what is in the Ten of Swords before you leave it. And Sadhana, I pulled a bottom of the deck energy, and it was the Ace of Wands as well. So, but yeah.
So Papu Das, on one hand, these cards are all cards of change and moving forward in a very positive direction. But I think what we're all saying is to observe the present first. Make sure you fully integrate what's here and now before you leave. Don't burn bridges. And then, yes, is the answer.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
you need to pay attention to the here and now first. Okay, I'm just going to go down to the end of the chat and see if Papu Das has said anything. Oh, Ange is here. Namaste, Ange. Hello, hello. I don't see anything from Papu Das. So, Helen, hello, welcome. Okay, so let us know, Papu Das, how that sits and resonates with you. Thank you very, very much. Evangelina, I said hello to you. Interesting comment from Mary Beth. I no longer hesitate to buy a deck that I like. I made a mistake in embracing frugality and missing out on Avalon's Bone Stone. Yeah.
Me too.
What is that acronym? FOMO?
FOMO, fear of missing out. Yep.
Yeah. Fear of missing out. Holly, hello, welcome. I'm not sure if I said hello to you. And Essence O, namaste and welcome. Jonathan says he can't get enough of the second edition. There are 10 extra cards. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's a really powerful deck for those of you that don't have it. And thank you, Joseph. That's lovely feedback. Really appreciate it. Okay, I will try to pay closer attention to your comments as we are reading. There's hosting this. I'm looking at 2 chats, so it's really interesting. This whole paying attention. Okay, so this is let's just comment on this. We were talking about predictive reading, and Jonathan says, I see a predictive question and answer session as more of this will happen if you stick to the current path versus a set in stone reading. And one of the things that I do live readings every Tuesdays, and the art of asking or rewording your question is just part of learning how this process works. Mm-hmm. And it takes years to learn how to make good questions.
Yeah, and there are different spreads to help with the what do I do? If I continue in this manner, what will happen? If I change, this will happen. So
yeah. Okay, I'm still scrolling down to find the next question. Joel's talking about he's at work and somebody has destroyed the meditation space in the room. He's busy cleaning up. That's sorry to hear that. So it sounds like you got the job. That is amazing. So we were talking about Joel getting a new job at a meditation store, spiritual store.
I love the idea if Joel got a new job and he's actually cleaning the new space, it's like a cleansing, especially with him being there. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, it's really great. Okay, so we're at Evangelina. Yay, I found the next question. Okay, could you please give me some advice on the lesson Louis and I are learning from a relationship since we had a tower moment last July? Okay, relationship reading. Whoever's ready can go first.
I got the Page of Pentacles. So as we see the page here, the page is holding this pentacle up, standing solid on 2 feet, and the pentacle is radiating out. And there's a great deal of attention on the pentacle. And I think, as I think about your question, advice on the lesson Louis and I are learning from our relationship since we had a tower moment last year is the importance of making sure the foundations are there and you maintain them and you monitor it. Because you can't build a kingdom you could build a kingdom on a shaky foundation, but it's not going to last. When I see this card, it also reminds me of the importance of doing things physically, whether it be taking a walk together, doing dishes, cooking. It feels important to be out in the sun. This just looks like a sun to me. So I think the lesson is the importance of being together and learning from that lesson. Pages are understanding a new approach to things and being willing to have a beginner's mind and to not do it perfectly, but to do it. Because pages are also enthusiastic. There's a youthful excitement about it. So,
Anna?
Okay. So my card is, I think, looking at things from a very different perspective than Gerald's this time. And it's the Guardian of Swords, or the equivalent of the King of Swords. And I see this, I suppose it's a raven or a crow. We have neither of those in New Zealand, and so I'm always a bit vague about what particular kind of black looking bird it is. But I feel that is a position that surveys where you have been. It uses height. So maybe there is something important that you can, or an important kind of vision that you can acquire from that tower moment that can help you understand both your current situation and how you came to be there. So to me, this is about speaking your truth, about a particular kind of knowing. And also perhaps the other side of that is analysis is important, and talking and conversation and seeing a particular perspective, but it's not the only approach. And so you need a heart and mind, heart and grounded approach as well. So I see Gerald's and my particular takes as being part of the same question. So don't decry your ability to talk about what happened. It's good to face it. It's good to look at it. But be aware that the King of Swords speaks above a frozen ground. And that's not the only... And look at Gerald's. And I think that analogy of the sun for the pentacle is a perfect contrast. It's almost like day and night.
And Anna, I love how these are... If we were next to each other, they would be facing each other. This crow on, they'd be facing each other, and I think that's really that's potent, because when you have the wisdom of that sword and that maturity and the ability to look back at tower moments, it actually informs what can actually grow. Because when you think about it with seasons, you look at your garden, how did it go? How did this plant do in this area of the garden? And what would happen if I moved it? It's the wisdom of the guardian that provides that. And it's the wise, or it's the willing to learn page that's going to benefit from that.
That's a really positive spin for you, Evangelina, I think.
This is really interesting. I've also drawn a court card.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So one of the things I see with those two cards up top is there's a level of focus. And while the perspective is different, they're both extremely focused. Look how the page is intent and looking at that pentacle or the sun, the potential. And the pages have received a gift, right? I often see that as the gift of the ace. They're holding something very precious. They're not quite sure what to do with it. This could represent both of you. One of you could be one, and one of you can be the other. But I think regardless of the who is whom, or who is the more dominant energy of the King of Swords or the Page of Pentacles, it's that you both have valid perspectives here. And the one of you who wants to take a more, perhaps, less restrictive approach, just to honor that and know that the other person may not be comfortable with that as well, too. It's okay to have differing opinions and to do things in a different way. And so perhaps this is about the two of you, seeing a bigger, just taking having a wider view of your relationship. I have a very sexy Knight of Cups here. And, on a very personal level in a relationship question, maybe this is the medicine. Maybe the medicine is in the touch and the feeling and the sense and the sensuality. Perhaps, it's never coincidence. I put them up there and I put myself down here, and the sensuality is now wanting to flow through this reading. And so to whichever one of you I'm speaking to, and it's probably to Evangelina, to allow yourself to feel sexy and fluid and feminine, and to initiate sex, to initiate love. The Knights like to move, right? They like to move the energy. Maybe this isn't about the sex. It's not a wand. It's about the feelings. So to allow the feelings to flow, and the expression of love to flow. Yeah. The ice beneath that king of, perhaps it's time for that ice beneath the king of air, king of swords, to begin to thaw a little bit. And so somebody has to initiate that. So, yeah.
That's a great reading, isn't it? We've all got a sort of a sequence, a part in a sequence.
Yeah. And I think sadhana, as you said, the sensuality aspect of the Knight of Cups, sensuality is about the senses, and the senses help you to be more in your body, as with the Pentacles. It's very interesting. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So it's not easy. Relationships are never easy. And sometimes giving yourself anyway, I think we've said enough. There's a lot of beautiful messages that have come through for Evangelina. Yeah. We are at the hour, so I would like to go through and say hello to everybody that we haven't said hello to, and do one more reading. Are you two game for one more reading?
Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I want to say, so Ishi's here. Hello to Ishi. I'm going to scroll on down. And it's really beautiful. One of my favorite things about these chats is the feedback that happens in the chat as well, too. Like Jonathan was talking about a previous reading and so forth. It's lovely because there's so many readers in the chat that I think we said hello to Helen. Namaste, Helen. The support is important.
Yes.
Support is important. Okay, scrolling on down. And I apologize if we haven't said hi to everybody who's come in. I did say hi to Ange. Lovely to have you here. Ishi, there's Ishi. Ishi came in a bit back. And Danielle. Hello, Danielle. Danielle was in a class. Were you three in a class together?
Yes, we were. Yeah. Hi, Danielle.
One of the Read With Me classes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Joel hasn't even applied for the job yet. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. And Pallavi Sharma, hello. I guess Pallavi will be the last question for today. And I'm just going to scroll on down, make sure we've said hi to everybody. I think we're down near the bottom. Okay. All right. So I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm going to be doing roundtable readings going forward most Saturdays, not every Saturday. And I'm going to be inviting on fellow readers and students and people I've met through tarot too, but I'm also hoping to have some local readers here as well too that I've met in person. So yeah, it's just so fun to read with other people and to, that there's something about the energy of tying things together through different voices that's very powerful.
Yes.
Okay, so let's focus on Pallavi Sharma. And I'm going to mute myself. And Gerald, why don't you go first this time?
Okay. I haven't used the Spacious Tarot, so I'm going to use the Spacious Tarot, Anna. So, what's coming next in love? And I got the Chariot. And as I look at this Chariot, it's there's light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And the Chariot always reminds me that things can go extremely quickly, because as you look at the water, is it water? Is it ice? But you're on this boat, or you're actually going in the water, and it feels like there is a good opportunity, and it might surprise you at how it shows up. So I'm wondering if this just popped in my head. I wonder if this person is of light hair. This just sort of, it's like, it made me think of that. So, but I would also say is when you're on water like this, going between two mountains, it is extremely important to pay attention to where you're going, so you don't knock the edges. So, but yeah,
that's a powerful Chariot card.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, Anna.
Well, I was going to do the Spacious Tarot, but I thought I'd better compliment Gerald, so I've done the Rider-Waite, and this one is I guess not what you want to see in an upcoming relationship question. I mean, I could easily say don't worry about it, but that's not a good enough commentary. I mean, you can see Pallavi, the woman who is on her bed, can't sleep for anxiety about something that's been on her mind for some time. So this may be somebody from your past who you are revisiting. I'm not sure about that, but that's perhaps one impression I have from the card. Maybe you aren't so happy, or maybe you shouldn't be so happy with the speed at which things could progress, because the Chariot card and all of that powerful wall of water is pretty inexorable. And here's another part of you that's sitting up saying, I can't manage that, I can't go at that speed. So far that's what I want to say. Maybe something else later. So not necessarily what you want to see, but it may help to ground you, these particular two cards together.
May I add something to that? The Nine of
Go ahead.
The Nine of Swords, it can be about dreams, and it's what we're thinking about. So I always think about the Nine of Swords as the be careful what you dream, because your dreams can become reality. So sometimes, I see that card, Anna. That's one of the cards that I look at when I'm considering a tarot deck, because I want to see the interpretation. It's a key card for me, and it can be a lot of anxiety. So you could have anxiety about what's coming next in love for you, but you're also putting energy to, are you worried about what you don't want, or are you worried about what you want? Because where you focus your energy, it manifests. So
I'm trying to curb Amber. Amber's about to burst into song here. So, okay, here I'm going to tell you a little bit of I was shuffling the Lily-White Tarot, and I pulled the Page of Pentacles, and I kind of went, and then I picked up the Druid Craft, which was sitting right here, and I pulled the Page of Pentacles.
Sadhana. Go with it.
Okay. So I'm wondering when I look at there's so much, this is such an innocent, they're both very innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But something else is coming through. I'm wondering if you're being naive about the way that something is unfolding. So we had the Chariot, which is asking you to own who you are, right? It's asking you to embrace who you are and to surge forward with confidence in a way that you don't know what's going to lie ahead, but there's this energy of you've got this, and why have you been holding back? The other thing too is there's a breaking free kind of energy with the Chariot. And then with the 9 of Swords, it's the self-doubt. So I see this conflict between the Chariot and the 9 of Swords. So I'm wondering, what is holding you back? What is holding you back? And this is such a, with your kind of question, this is such a little girl kind of energy, you know, it's, so I'm just feeling, I'm just like, I want to give you a boost of confidence and to encourage you to release the small stuff and to know that. The other thing too with this page is the curiosity. There's a curiosity. So to be curious, and there's nothing wrong with naivety if you are. I mean, we need to be careful about, you know, who we choose and the partners and the places we go to and all of that kind of stuff and how we connect with people, but also not to be closed off. And so while the Page of Pentacles isn't going to go surging forward as quickly as the Chariot is, there's still this enjoying the journey kind of message. So we have this 9 of Swords energy is very, I want to go back. I want to ask you that question. Like, what is holding you back? Is it parents? Is it the community, the culture, the family? That this is, do you understand this conflict that's here, Anna and Gerald? Like it's.
I do. And I pulled a bottom of the card energy and I got the 2 of Pentacles. And I'm curious as if what's next in love, perhaps you got 2 Pentacles, perhaps there's an option of 2, you know, 2 suitors, 2 choices. But I like how you said, you know, the page is grounded and is going to move purposefully, but with a youthful innocence and naivete. So
I'm not sure you're clear about what you want. Look at the face on this one. This, what can I do here? Put myself up here. Look at the face.
Oh, yeah.
She's curious, but I don't think she's sure about what she wants. What they want. Sorry, Pallavi, I don't know what your pronoun is. So, I'm not sure, Pallavi.
I think what has happened before may be holding you back. And you know how your wheels of energy can just whir and whir and whir, and you've got this energy, but you're not engaged or not able to engage because of something. And I wonder if it is because in this instance you've put the brakes on because you've seen something or experienced something in the past.
D says perhaps the obvious choice is not the correct one. And Donna says fear from the past, fear from a past relationship.
Yes, I think that.
There's
I
some
wonder.
caution. There's some caution here, right?
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think perhaps you're feeling the Chariot energy, right? The Chariot energy is also, if you think about it in a traditional card, it's we want to embrace our fire and our water. We want to embrace our yin and our yang and bring them together and move forward in a way that feels fulfilling. And so what do you need to do to find that confidence? What do you need to do to find that strength so that you can go forward? Because the release of the past relationship is really important. We can't possibly go forward until we let go. Right? Yeah. Okay. So why don't we just all pull one card for the collective? And I want to thank you all so much for being here today. Really, really enjoyed this. Oh, Karen K is here. Hello, Karen. Welcome. Okay, so this is for all of you. I know there was at least one other question in the chat, but we're going to pull a card for the collective for this first weekend in September.
I got the moon.
Many choices, or not just many choices, but an arresting of something.
And time for introspection, enjoying the night and the nighttime walk. I think we're coming up to a new moon. So, but I always like to think about the moon is things look different by the light of the moon. And that can be very joyful at times.
Look what I got.
Temperance.
Huh.
I'm kind of struck. You know what I'm struck with this card is the water. And Anna, you have a swords card.
And ice.
Okay. So maybe this is about a breakthrough of something that's ready to come up from the surface.
And in this particular card, because of that solitary six, the six swords in the ice in one place in the card in the horizon, and there's another one, well, to my left or right, which to me is a hopeful sign in this particular card, that you're not entrapped and encircled in the way the woman was in the Nine of Swords.
Yeah.
So there's a capacity for doing different and for stepping out despite whatever is coming and being experienced.
There is a capacity for stepping out and doing different.
You're right.
And and with the moon, it also makes me think of maybe some dream work and pay attention to your dreams.
And what about those mushrooms, Gerald? Don't forget those.
Yes, mushrooms. Time to saute some mushrooms.
Maybe some psychedelics.
Yeah.
That's what I have in mind. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
That's lovely.
Well, thank you. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you very much. This has been delightful.
It's been great. And the synchronicity in the readings has just been beautiful. I'd love to have you both on again. I love the combination of you two up there. So thank you so much. You two hang around for a moment, and I will be back tomorrow, color with me. I'm going to carry on and do some color reflections with the Wild Unknown Tarot, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat on other people's channels very soon. Namaste, blessed be, and take very good care of yourselves. Happy weekend.